we're kind of new at this stuff. I'm an acupuncturist. He's a great marketer, but still, like, there's a lot of technology involved in this.
Okay.
So, maybe discussions. So we're about to get started.
Okay.
And this is going to be.
Oh, there we
There
go.
we go.
Hi, Kim. Yeah, we
Hello,
can see
Kim.
this. Thank you so much. Sorry about that.
All right.
Okay, there we go.
We got
Hello,
some attendees.
hello.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so
No
much, Kim.
worries.
Sorry about that. Hopefully, we've been able to entertain you during the 2-minute delay.
We are getting started.
Yeah, let's get started. Let's do this. Let's do this.
Okay. So my name is Martin.
Riaz CD here, based in
Okay.
Canada.
I'm the acupuncturist.
I'm the marketer.
All
We
right.
work together.
We work together. This is a brand new relationship. We've actually been working together for a few months now, and it's actually been a really good relationship. I can say that.
Thank you.
It's been swell.
Can you hear us okay?
Oh yeah, that's a good plan. If you can just someone tell us if you can hear us.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
Awesome.
Okay. So we got started, and right away Riaz said, let's do some Facebook. And it was perfect because I was just about to start a new location. I'd opened up in a different area, a different location, a new clinic. And obviously you're getting started with scratch, zero patients. You want to have as many new patients as possible. So we got started, and right away, and to be honest, I was thinking that it was going to take at least a few months, maybe 3 months, that for me to really start getting a few leads. But within our first month, we got about 30 leads. I don't know the exact number, but it's somewhere in that.
30, yeah.
Okay, so 30. And these are people that made a phone call. They saw the ad. They made a phone call. They called us. They met with me in person, and now they are actually patients. And I can say, as a result of this guy, now I have some great business, and it's going to continue to accumulate and accumulate. And so it's been a great success. And I can tell you that in the past, I have been at this for many, many years now. I've tried to do it on my own. I've hired other marketers and other marketing company. Last year, I was with this marketing company. Sorry if I'm going to say this.
No.
Last year,
It's not against me.
I got locked into, and actually, it wasn't the only time I got locked. So 2 times in a row, I got locked into like a 6-month contract marketing plan that I was supposed to invest like X amount. So last year was $5,000 a month, and I was doing that, and I got 0 leads, not 1 lead from it.
Wow.
And after a while, after like 4 months, I was like, okay, so I'm still spending a lot of money on this and not really getting any return. Can we stop this, or can we do anything differently? And they said, no, we just got to keep trying. It's going to work. You are going to get leads. And after 6 months, still no leads.
That's a red flag. If you're looking for marketers, if they want to keep you locked into a contract, that's probably a sign that they're not feeling confident about their services.
So I want to start by saying that this is not me plugging Riaz. I do not have any incentives by having him come on this webinar. I created just recently a coaching, acupuncture coaching company, and I want to help other acupuncturists be successful, have a great clinic, and obviously having good people around you, that's part of the equation. You have to surround yourself with others. You can't just do it on your own. And lately I've been surrounding myself with this guy, and it's been working really well. And so that's a bit of the story, the introduction, how we got started, and so far it's evolving. There's more development going on with this, and we're going to talk all about it.
Okay.
At the end of the day, so my first question for Riaz, or do you want to introduce or say anything about?
Yeah, sure. I mean, just to give you some context, I've been marketing for 10 years. Online marketing. I worked in one of Canada's largest media companies, helping to grow out their digital marketing side of their business.
What's the name of that company?
The name of the company is Post Media, but if you're in the US or UK or some of the other countries, you may not be familiar with it. It would be the equivalent of one of the larger newspaper chains, organizations in Canada. And I was a member of helping to kind of grow out more of the digital side of the business. I rose through the ranks and ended up being the national training manager there, teaching advertising salespeople across the country on how to sell digital advertising. And more recently, decided to become an entrepreneur, probably like many of the people that are acupuncturists attending this webinar, and yourself, Martin, to get out there, provide a service, and generate tangible leads for businesses. And so far, it's been an excellent endeavor, and I've been fortunate enough to meet great people like Martin, and hopefully get to meet, well, definitely getting to meet you guys as well, which is excellent. I've helped a lot of different industries, but I definitely have an affinity for. I have an affinity. Wait, I have an affinity for acupuncture. So it's very nice that I'm able to contribute to the industry in a different way.
Okay.
Hi, Amanda.
Now say something cool about you.
Oh yeah, something cool about me. So something cool about me. I just got married
There you
last
go.
year. We just bought a house last year. My sister's in
dog?
town. I have a dog. I'm a real person. I'm not a. I try not to be a robot. I know a lot of my colleagues and competitors are a little bit of like robots. So
No, I can
try and
speak.
shake that off a
I
little
can
bit.
speak. This is a great guy. He will. It's been a great relationship. It's gone above and beyond with me. I can call him, text him anytime, and I can send messages and we respond quite often. It's great communication. I think in any relationship you have to have great communication, and I feel like we do. So
I think that kind of stems to another part of why I really got into marketing, because a lot of marketers, they have not been in the position of actually selling. So they are not in the position, they generate leads, yes, hopefully in some cases not, but they generate leads, but they don't know what it's like to actually receive a lead and go out and sell on it. And I think that's because I have a sales background and I come from a sales world. The marketing side it kind of goes hand in hand, and I think that's what's made me so excited about this working with Martin and working with acupuncturists in general.
So enough talking about us. Let's get into the meat.
Yeah.
So Facebook, you've obviously heard of Facebook. Now, if you are watching this, you actually are a demonstration that what he does works, because pretty much the same model that got you to attend this is what he used to got me to get new patients for my acupuncture clinic.
Correct.
So tell us why. Now, it did not work when I tried to do it on my own.
Okay.
It did not work when I hired multiple other marketing companies.
Sure.
Why did it work with you, and why did it work so quickly?
So a couple things. So I don't know. Certainly, I can't speak for other marketing companies. I don't know what they've done. So I'm not going to say anything negative. Certainly. But what I will say is there are 3 different elements that I implement in my campaigns and that I implemented for you, Martin, in your campaign to really help to generate tangible leads. The first thing is all about creative. So typically, like Martin, in your experience, as a business owner or a marketer, typically they say, you know what, everyone's on Facebook, so we need to do Facebook ads. So they say, okay, yeah, let's do Facebook ads. They talk to their team and they're like, yeah, we're gonna do Facebook ads, and they put out a creative with an image, a headline, and some ad text, and they put it out to their target audience, and for some reason it doesn't work. And they say, well, I guess Facebook doesn't work then.
That was me, right? About a year and a half
I guess
ago.
Facebook doesn't work. So what I do differently is, rather than create one creative, when I say creative, I mean what I do is I create dozens and sometimes hundreds of different ad variations. So whereas the original ad that Martin you might have done by yourself would have one headline, one headline, one ad text, and one image, mine actually I create 3 or 4 images, 3 or 4 headlines, 2 or 3 ad texts, and I mix and mash them together until there's dozens of different variations. And what that allows us to do is it allows us to say, this image works, this headline works, this ad text works, this call to action button works, and we're essentially trying to find the right formula, the right recipe for a converting ad. And when I say a converting ad, I mean it's getting a lot of clicks, certainly. It has the lowest cost per click. So Facebook charges per click or per 1,000 impressions. And what we do is by having many different ads, many different ad creative variations, we're essentially isolating the ones that are performing well and not costing you a lot.
It's so hard to believe that just by changing the color or by changing a few words, you can get a better impression.
You'd be actually
like that's
pretty surprised, actually.
I know. So when I created my ad, I actually did I had heard of A/B testing.
Right.
So I had created, I think, 3 or maybe 4 different ads. Similar, I had the same idea.
Sure.
But I had maybe 4.
Okay.
How many did you have for mine?
So for yours, I used 2 images.
Okay.
I had 3 headlines, and I had 2 ad texts.
How many ads?
So 2 times 3 is 6, times 2 is 12, and then I had different audience segments and different call to action buttons. So I'd say in total there were probably between 70 and 90 or so ads initially, but then what we do is we turn off the ones that aren't converting, usually after around 3 or 4 days.
Okay.
3 or 4 days gives us enough of an opportunity to say, you know what, we've served X amount of impressions for this ad and this ad. By what, sorry?
What was working, what wasn't working?
I'm actually always surprised by what's working and what's not working. So I used 2 stock images, and then I used one stock image. Stock image is like one of the ones that you go out and buy on like Getty Images or that type of thing. And then I just used one of like Martin and his family. And typically people are going on Facebook not to be sold at, right? You're going on Facebook to browse, see what your friends are doing. And so when you see a picture of Martin and his family, it's a lot different than seeing a stock image, right? Because you can relate to a family, you can relate to a real person, and it's when it's not like super high res and super polished, it doesn't feel fake, right?
So we had a question.
Yeah.
We're able to tell which ad responds well, and basically you kind of answered that.
Yeah. So what happens is actually I have some tools that I use that allow me to isolate different parts of the ad. So I can see, you know, which headline is working, which image is working, which audience segment is working. So this is kind of the first segment, the first element of why the campaign worked, which is testing testing different creatives. He was talking about A/B testing. I like to do the whole alphabet from A to Z, right? So that's the first part. The second element is using your existing client data, depending on which part of the world you're watching this from, using your existing client data to target new people. So what we do is actually a lot of acupuncturists, especially if you've been in the business for a few years, you'll have a list of your patients and you'll have first name, last name, email, and phone number. What I did for Martin is I took that list and I was actually able to upload it into what's called Facebook Business Manager. And from that, it creates a custom audience of those people. So for Martin, I think it was around 4,000 people. So we create a custom audience of those 4,000 people. Now, don't worry, we're not targeting those people and we're not bothering them because
right away, my first when he said, okay, give me your list, I was like, well, I want to make sure that what we're gonna do is legal.
Absolutely.
Like we have consent, that everything is gonna be, you know, because the last thing you want is your caring, loving patients to be bombarded with ads, and you're like they don't like this.
So just to be clear, we're not actually using the data to target your existing patients. What I'm doing is actually creating a custom audience of those people and identifying the commonalities between those people. Besides the fact that they're Martin's client, there are certain similarities between those people that we can't even fathom. You know, Facebook's algorithm is crunching out all sorts of different statistics. It could be their interests, their behaviors, their household income, their habits, their demographics, what they're like on Facebook, what they're visiting off of Facebook, and all of that information accumulated together goes within this custom audience. Then we figure out the commonalities between those people, and what happens is the average of those people emerges, what I call the perfect prospect targeting. So once we've isolated that perfect prospect, which is someone who is not only Martin's patient, but has a lot of different similarities between the people that are his patients, we target new people who look and act and think and behave the exact same way as his existing patients. And the thinking behind that is that if his existing patients, 4,000 people is quite a lot of people, right? So that's enough to be statistically significant. If 4,000 people all share these common traits and habits and behaviors and interests, then someone out there in the world who's just browsing on Facebook who possesses those habits, interests, behaviors, demographics is going to be more receptive to those ads, right? And then what we do is, of course, now we're putting hundreds of different ads to that person.
And could you do that? Like, could you target like zip codes?
Yeah. So what we can target. So what happens is
postal code.
Yeah, that's actually a really good question.
Canadian.
So we create a lookalike of your existing patients,
Yeah.
and then what I do on top of that is I layer targeting. So I can layer things like interests. Certainly, it's acupuncture. It might be Chinese medicine. It might be spirituality. Things that may be related to whatever segment you're in, whatever niche you're in, whatever industry. And then you can layer other things on top of that as well. So, for example, if we're using the example of how you got to this webinar, right? Certainly we use some interest targeting for acupuncturists, job title targeting. education, things like that, in order to hit the right people, which is hopefully you. Otherwise, we're not actually adding any value to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what we want to do is we want to not be putting the wrong ad in front of the wrong person, because if we put the right ad in front of the right person, not only does Facebook favor that and it helps you by increasing relevancy. When you have high relevancy, the cost goes down a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So by getting the right person in front of the right ad in front of the right person.
Speaking of cost,
Yeah.
We had 25, 26 people sign up for this webinar.
Correct.
How much did it cost on Facebook?
The actual Facebook spend probably was, I think, around $180
$180
Canadian.
So that means like $100 US.
130.
Not really.
No, but so I think I mean I think the real thing to take away from this part of it is that there's the two elements that we've talked about so far are creative, and not only just putting one creative, but putting hundreds of different creatives out to your target audience. And then when doing target audience, don't just focus on Facebook's default target audience, right? Use your own data, because what happens is Facebook charges a premium for you to use their data. So when you go and select patient acupuncture, or if you select their data, or if you select their fields, they charge you a premium for that. But when we use Martin's data, because we're bringing the data to their game and we're just using their platform to get in front of those people, it's actually helping us to bring that cost per click down.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah. So the third part is landing page. So the third part is landing page. So where are you sending them once they've clicked on the ad? Because of course that's the goal. Likes, I think likes are a bit overrated, to be honest. Likes don't really get you new patients, right? Likes can help in a lot of other ways in terms of for your fan page, getting the word out there. When you like something, like if I like something, Martin will see it, and vice versa. So it definitely is good for the engagement portion. But if we're looking at actual conversions, we want to get people to a landing page that's going to take them off of their Facebook experience and get them into a acupuncture experience, learning all about what acupuncture does. So on Martin's landing page, we have some really well scripted copy. I'm trained in journalism, so I've been doing copywriting for many years. And through that, we do things like bullet points. We have a great offer. Do you want to share the offer or not?
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. So the offer is like 75% off on your first initial consult.
Yeah. And let me talk about the offer. A lot of people don't like to discount their work.
Right.
And I understand that. But at the same time, I'd rather be busy than not at all. Mm-hmm. So with time, as we get busier, we don't offer as much discount incentives for people to come in. But in the beginning, I just need bodies. Mm-hmm. I need people to come in and get the experience and see what it's like and get to know me. And obviously by offering it at a reduced rate, at a much reduced rate, I'm not in it for the first visit. Mm-hmm. I'm in it for like years.
Yeah. And what's the lifetime value of a typical customer?
That's a good answer. I should know that. Sorry. I know. It's pretty good though.
Okay.
So it depends, but in general, I think it's okay to do a discount initial. We've been doing that for years, and I think it works in our industry.
Okay, good. So another part that we were talking about was also like, what does it say? What do we actually say on the landing page?
Yeah.
So,
and can I say something about the landing page?
Yeah, for sure.
So he made the landing page, and right away I remember I was driving and I called you and I said, I saw the landing page. It doesn't look very good.
Yes, and my answer was that is actually by design. So as I mentioned before, when things are overly polished, it comes across as out of reach for the vast majority of people, like of the average population. So what you want to do is you want to find the balance between being aesthetically amazing and beautiful, but also being relatable. And what I find similar to the stock images is when it's super polished, people just don't relate to that.
And it wasn't that it wasn't like nice. The content was fine. It was just I was expecting but it has to reflect also the clinic and the experience and the it's not sponsored by Mercedes or it's an acupuncture clinic, and their expectation of that is not to be like, I don't have millions of budget money to go and create this. So I think the ad and the landing page represented our clinic, in the industry,
right? And so, I mean, it's not really that bad. Like it's not that bad. It is, but it's not like top notch, right? And that is actually on purpose. What we did is we made sure to respect the brand guidelines, the logos there, the color scheme is there, and the real important part about the landing page is the copy. The copy is way. When I say copy, I
When
mean
we
the
say
text,
copy, yes.
the actual words on the page, than how it looks. And the reason for that is because if you're clicking on an ad that says 75% off, or something that's really pulling you in, yeah, looks are kind of a secondary to actually getting the offer, because we're always thinking about what's in it for me, right? And at this point, it's about me getting a great deal on an acupuncture session.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that I loved about how this worked is I was like, whenever you do a discount, like you're always like concerned if you're going to get people that come in, they get their free, almost the discounted acupuncture, and they never come back. But it actually, I was surprised at the people that we were reaching, the demographics, and I was surprised how very few people did not continue on with treatments. A lot of people actually decided to sign up for at least a minimum of 1 month of treatment.
Okay.
And a lot of them are still current patients right now, so it's still really early to tell. But I've done Groupon before, for example.
Okay.
And lately, Groupon has been not always, but we've had a lot of people come in. Thanks, I got my Groupon thing. Why are you here? I got Groupon. Well,
right.
Okay. But I was surprised that we were actually reaching people that were serious about their health, that wanted to get better, understood that it was going to be an investment, that it was understood. So I was very fascinated that we were reaching the right demographic.
So I think like the thing with Groupon is, I have nothing against Groupon. I'm sure I've used them over years. Groupon is mass marketing, right? So they're sending it out to a lot of people by email and hoping that they're going to get the right person. Similar to a lot of traditional types of marketing. With Facebook, initially people think, oh my God, Facebook has billions of people on there, not billions, but like hundreds of millions to a billion people on Facebook. We're going to reach so many people, but that's not the goal. The goal is to reach people who look and think and act like your existing patients. The reason that they have been, in my opinion, of high quality, and that you've retained them, and that they've continued to do business with you, is because they're an exact replica of your existing clients.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? So that kind of, does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Now, one of the things that you mentioned, what makes a good landing page is the copy.
Okay.
You have told me another great asset to have on a landing page. I could not do that because in my province, we're not allowed to do testimonials or to do a story of a patient saying, I got great results from acupuncture. But let's talk about that, because you were really like, this is the... And some people, some listeners might be able to do some things like that.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to let us know in the chat box kind of where in the world you're from, that'll help us to give some context. But what I want you to just be aware of and to think in the back of your head is this in line with the regulations and laws within your state and province and whatever part of the world you're in? That's the first thing, because we definitely don't want to get you in any hot water, right? Why I always push for testimonials and why I always push for stories, especially, is because when we go online on Facebook, it's all about stories. We're trying to see, what are our friends doing? Who's liking who? What events are you going to? What pictures are you going? What events are there? Who's going live? What are they saying? So from a Facebook perspective, people are going on there not to be sold. They're going on there to hear stories and to be entertained, educated, and enlightened. And for us to be seamless with that from an ad perspective, we want to play the rules of the game. We want to play by the rules of that game. It's more fun than just saying, hey, 75% off, right? But it also helps to actually humanize the experience, right? Like, if you're in a part of the world that does allow testimonials or stories, you can say, Margaret's 42 years old, and she came to see me, and she was having, issues with migraines, and this is what we did, this is how it worked, and this is how she feels better, and then there's a video of her playing. That really works a lot better than just going straight for the coupon. Not to say the coupon doesn't work, because clearly it did. But in my experience, things like stories will work even a lot much better. So I think there's only an upside on the opportunity for anyone else watching that's not in Ontario, Canada, where we are. I see we have Kim from Florida. Hello, Kim. Thanks for watching. And I would look into that and figure out, in Florida what those rules are.
So we mentioned doing having good copy, having maybe a testimonial if you can, not being too fancy or too polished. And in our case, we did a coupon or like a discounted offer.
Should I explain how that part works?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so the other element is the benefits. So you want to have like bullet point benefits, because people, when they get to a landing page, they just scan to the bullet points. They'll scan and then they'll say, okay, I like the bullet points. Let me go read the whole thing again. That's the first part. The second thing is when they opt in, they're going to fill out a form and they're going to get an automatic coupon. So the way we set it up is they'll put their first name, last name, phone number, and email address, and which location they want to go to in Martin's case, because he has 2 clinics. And then what happens is they press submit. If you have an email marketing software in place already, we set it up in a way that they would get added to that list and they would be automatically sent that coupon. Or an alternative way would be they just hit submit and then they get sent a PDF, like they get redirected to a PDF with the coupon right then and there. They can save it to their desktop. They can bring it in with their phone. But really, we'll already have the information, so they don't really need the coupon. I think if they just show up, they'll be fine. And it works very well. But the great thing is that because we're collecting their first name, last name, email, and phone number, we can actually use that information to create a new custom audience like we did before with your original email list. Except now, this is more fresh. This is fresher data. So what we're doing now is actually, we're in that stage now where we're rinsing and repeating by using the data we collected from the first lead that came in and creating new lookalikes and new custom audiences to target new people. But the best part is fresher data.
Okay. So good, awesome data, good creatives, and a good, strong landing page. That's how Facebook works.
Totally.
Okay, but if you're an acupuncturist,
yes,
and you've been talking all these great tips, what can an acupuncturist do when it comes to Facebook? And like, what should they attempt to do on their own? And what are some of the things? Because I'm a big, I totally believe, be an expert, specialize in acupuncture, focus on that, and hire experts around you. It's a hard time. It's a hard challenge to find the right people around you. But with time, if you keep trying, you'll get lucky, you'll get a Riaz. And if you are able to find the right people, then you get them to focus on the things that they're passionate about.
Right.
I find Facebook interesting, but what obviously passionates
enthralls,
sure, is acupuncture.
Right.
And helping other acupuncturists like yourself.
Right.
So what can they do, and what should they not attempt to do?
Okay, so before I get to what they should do and what they should not do, we have a really good question here on the last point, which is, if we use online booking, would you suggest adding a link to the landing page for patients to book an appointment? So I would set it up in a way where when they submit the form on the landing page, they get redirected to the booking page. So now they have the coupon and they're being prompted to book an appointment. If they're on the booking page, I don't know if I would necessarily redirect them to the landing page in that order, because they've already booked. You might as well not, unless you want to give them the 75% off, you can, right? If you're doing it across the board, but it may be an opportunity for, like, if you already have the appointment, you might not want to necessarily include the landing page, right? So I would say, it's kind of like a funnel, right? It's Facebook, sorry, on the camera, Facebook, landing page, and then your website, and then your email marketing platform, right? So what we're doing is we're basically creating thousands of different funnels that way. So I hope that answers the question, but I'm happy to follow up on that with you as well. So
what can they attempt to do, and what should they leave it to the experts?
Sure. So I would say, if you have staff on site who are excited about using Facebook, I would just give them, there's a Facebook Pages app that you can download on your phone, or if you have access to the desktop version. If you don't want to do that yourself, I would definitely find someone who's really interested in social media, who's looking for that big opportunity. Maybe they want to get promoted to like the senior admin person, or maybe there's an opportunity for them to show some personality for the company. They're interacting with the patients a lot, so I would say that could be one way to do it.
Can I say, every day I check my and I get patients commenting on stuff, liking posts, and asking me questions. And I have people I don't even know that are they're not even my patients, and they're asking me and every day I get like interaction like that.
So that would be actually the second person. So if you don't have an admin person, that's fine.
Oh yeah,
I
I'm
think
the second person.
no, you're actually the first person.
Okay.
So usually when I meet
Who's on first?
So the ideal scenario is that you as the business owner or the acupuncturist, you're owning it and you're the one that's posting.
I like to do it.
Yeah.
I really like to post, and I like to make videos. That's my biggest thing.
Now we're talking about Facebook posting. We're not talking about ads. So those are two separate things.
Okay.
What I deal with is Facebook ad marketing.
Yes.
When there's Facebook management. So social media management would be the daily posting. Facebook marketing would be this ad stuff that we're talking about.
Yes.
Completely two separate things. That being said, I also provide that service as well, where I can post as well.
Okay.
I'm sure.
So what should they do? Sorry, let's go back.
So yeah, I would say let's focus. So what I would say is you should try and work on doing the actual Facebook posting yourself. There are tools out there to pre-program.
What kind of tools?
Well, Facebook itself on the Facebook Business Manager, you would use that and you can schedule posts ahead of time.
Okay,
there's other
that's
tools.
Easy.
Yeah, there's other tools like Buffer. There's Buffer.
What's Buffer?
Buffer is one that will allow you to. It's like a centralized place where you can actually feed out posts to Twitter and Facebook and all sorts of different places.
Hootsuite is one.
Hootsuite is another one,
yeah.
or TweetDeck. There's a lot of them out there.
Okay.
The thing that you want to try and be cautious of is not putting the same content on different platforms, because you want to respect the kind of the rules of engagement for that platform.
Can I give a little tip on this? And
sure.
You can correct me if I'm okay. Stick to one platform.
You know what? I would.
Okay, maybe two.
No.
But,
so here's what I would say to that, because it is a good point. If you're gonna do one, do it well.
Yes.
If you're gonna do two, do it well.
Yeah. It is very hard.
Yeah.
To run an acupuncture business and to run
100%
like 3 great platforms.
Yeah. So I totally understand.
Start with one.
Like I do YouTube videos every week.
Yeah.
Yesterday I did one about not being a huge fan of Twitter. Right? Do I still have it? Yeah. Do I use it? Not that much. Yeah. I'm more of a LinkedIn and Facebook type person. You'll know where your clients are hanging out, and you'll want to engage with those people first. Pinterest is a good one.
Do you think that Facebook is the best platform for our audience, for patients?
So, I mean, there are a lot of different platforms. So. Well, no, but you know what? I mean, to be honest, Facebook is right for the right industry and right business at the right time, right? So we could be sitting here 5 years from now, and as a good marketing person, I might say, you know what, Facebook's kind of not working as well. Maybe it will be, right? But I think that the goal is ultimately to take patience, and the platform is just the tool to get you there. So I wouldn't put all my eggs in one basket. But right now for acupuncture, I would say Facebook is the go-to.
Yeah, I haven't touched Instagram. I know Instagram is going to kill Facebook, maybe.
Well, Facebook owns Instagram. Well, and actually, a lot of the ads that we served for Martin's campaign were served on Instagram too.
They were?
Yeah. There you go. He was getting leads from Instagram, and he didn't even.
I hate Instagram. No, I don't hate Instagram. I just don't get it.
That's okay. You don't have to get it as long as your patients do. Right? Okay. What's the next question? Oh yeah.
What can they do? So they can post. They should post.
They should post. I mean, I wouldn't like. I would dabble in
and
schedule posts. Have regular posts.
Yeah.
The types of content that you want to focus on is blog posts, linking back to your own website, making sure that you're educating, entertaining, and enlightening, and respecting the rules of Facebook, which is let's have fun, let's talk about good things, not like schedule your appointment today. That's like it's overkill, and you know what? It's a short-term pain but long-term gain if you do it the more organic way. Well, sorry, you have the question there? A couple questions, I think.
Yeah. Would you suggest to have a few clips in the can?
Absolutely. So if you are, again, it goes back to the regulations. If you're legally allowed to do that, I would 100% use testimonials on Facebook ads, on your website, and because people relate to other people, right? If Martin says you should do acupuncture, well, it's his business. Obviously, he's going to say that, right?
Last week, not as much this week, but last week, I always ask my patients, new patients, how did you hear about us? Mm-hmm. Last week, 5 new patients told me these exact words. I Google acupuncture in the area, then I went and I read your reviews.
Okay.
Because I read your reviews, you had great reviews, I decided to call and come in.
Right. So what I would say is that you want to have more of a holistic approach which is the fact that you're ready in any of these platforms for someone to come to you, because someone may see your ad on Facebook, or they may see your ad, like your actual Facebook page, because someone shared it. They may not go to your page. They may go to Google and type in Oak Tree Health for Martin, right? And when they do that, and they click on your Google review, and then it comes to your website, your analytics may say, oh, well, Google's working really well for you, but it doesn't take into consideration the fact that Facebook is what actually created the awareness. So there's awareness, interest, desire, and action. These are the 4 stages of a marketing funnel. And someone has to become aware of you before they become interested. Mm-hmm. But once they become aware, they can become interested. And once they become interested, they can have desire for your product or service. And that's when, and then the last part is the action, right? Once they have desire, then they're like, I'm going to take action. I'm going to do something about it.
One patient this week said, I went on your Facebook page. I like all your videos. I like all the posts. You guys seem very fun and active, and that's why I came in.
There you go, right? So you want to be ready for a lot of different things. I know it seems a bit overwhelming and it's a lot of work up front, but if you have systems in place, I know Martin talks about being very efficient with his practice, and that's the whole thing of acupuncture coaching, that it's super efficient and it's a well-oiled machine. And if you're taking the steps to have that well-oiled machine, it's going to be a lot of heavy lifting at first, yes, for sure, right? But the long term is going to be fantastic, and you're not going to have to worry about those things, because you're going to have that person in place that's doing your Facebook posts. You're going to have that person doing your Facebook marketing. You're going to have your reviews on Google. So what Martin and I are doing is we're actually tackling one by one all of these different platforms to make sure that when someone Googles him, he's there. When someone's on Facebook, he's there, and that at least there's some form of presence. And then we're tackling those harder. So for example, he doesn't like Instagram, but he can still have an Instagram account.
I do.
He does, of course. I wouldn't allow him not to, right? But Facebook, we're going hard on Facebook. We're going hard on Google.
Focus.
Eventually, we'll go hard on Pinterest. He doesn't know it yet, but we're going to go hard on Pinterest in a few months. We're going to go hard on Instagram in a few months, right? Because Pinterest is very visual, and visual works very well in acupuncture, right? So think about where your audience is hanging out.
That's true.
Think about where your audience is
hanging out.
Think about where they're going to be, right?
What do they want? Where's the audience?
Like I've done campaigns on Reddit. Reddit is doing advertising now. So you want to find these little pockets of different platforms and see how you can separate yourself from the competition there. Because I'm telling you, spending money on Reddit and Pinterest ads is a lot less expensive than doing other. Yeah, because there's no competition. Because what happens is competition drives up the price. And if you're the first there, in Florida or wherever you are, then
what the heck is Reddit?
We'll talk about that offline, but Google Reddit. We'll Google Reddit together after. But essentially, it's just forums.
Is it red?
Jeez, Martin. So I think the real point I'm trying to make out of this is that the platforms will continue to evolve, but you want to be where your audience is.
Because after a while, the ad that we've been running hasn't been doing as well, right?
So
that's we have to talk about that.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. So what happens is it comes in waves. So we were targeting, to give some more context on the successes, we were targeting one area of Ottawa, which is the city, one suburb. We were targeting one suburb that is within our city, and by doing it that way, now we've been able to kind of take what we can out of that area, and now we're moving to a different area and taking the learnings away from that. So what happens is, when we do the optimization, when I say optimization, I say, okay, so there's 90 ads in the beginning, right? After the first few days, we turn off, say, a third of those ads because they're either not performing, they're not getting many impressions. It's going to affect the entire campaign. So for the next 2 days after that, the campaign's not going to work as well. Okay. All right. I think someone is trying to get into the feed.
But what I'm trying to say is, and what I think you're saying is that you can't run the same ad forever. No. It's like imagining watching TV, and we sometimes watch things on our computer, and it's always the same ad that's running.
Right.
It's the same bank ad.
So what happens is people get fatigued. Yeah. So we take that into consideration. So that's called frequency. And on the campaigns that I'm running for Martin, whenever there's a frequency of 4, I turn it off. So what that means is if someone has seen the ad 4 times, they're not going to ever see it again, whether they've converted or not. Also, the other element is if they've opted in and they've actually filled out the form and they've gotten the coupon, they get added to another custom audience, which I've excluded on the campaign. So that means that if you've downloaded the coupon, you're never going to see the ad again, because we don't want to, why harass them, right? We don't want to people don't want to be annoyed. Like we're just, they're happy that they've got this coupon, and then they get bombarded. It's like, okay, enough already,
Yes.
So we want to find that balance. We want to keep everyone happy. We want to make it a win-win, and that way we don't overdo it, because you can overdo it. You can overdo it, right?
Yeah.
And right now that's what we're doing. We're working on switching up the creative. We're gonna do more videos of Martin talking about the benefits of acupuncture. It's great.
And Facebook is great. Okay, so wait, we answered like what should they attempt to do?
Yeah.
Which was what?
What they should attempt to do is they should attempt to manage their page.
Yes.
And have platforms in place, have the different platforms in place, have testimonials available if they can. Make sure that their website is kind of world class, of course. Be on Google, have a Google My Business listing, right?
If somebody's just getting started in practice, one of my thought is almost don't even care about your website, care about Facebook. And spend a lot of time at like putting stuff on Facebook. And yeah, you can have a nice little, but put a lot more energy and resources on Facebook.
Are you okay if I disagree with you?
You can disagree with me.
Okay, so I'm not going to fully disagree, but what I'm going to say is that your website is your hub. All of these different platforms that we're talking about, Facebook, Twitter, Google, blogs, YouTube, these are all different things that are coming into the hub, and the goal is to get people onto your email list, right? So, if Facebook disappears tomorrow, I know it's not, but say Facebook disappears tomorrow or Pinterest disappears tomorrow, you're not going to have anything that you can hold on to and say, these are my clients. But if by having a really good website, along with Facebook and all these other traffic sources, then you're going to have a strong email list. You're going to have a lot of patients that you can kind of send out blasts to, promotional type stuff every so often. So I would say the Facebook is very important. I'm a Facebook marketer, so I would be not very smart to say it's not important.
Yeah.
But you need a great website, because that's going to really support and is the foundation of your brand and your business.
I didn't say you don't need a great website. I just said put a lot more effort in Facebook.
Fair. We might have an arm wrestle after this.
Yes, and we know who's gonna win that one.
Well, you're the acupuncturist. So. Okay, so yeah, I'm always behind the computer. So. Okay. What else?
So, we talked about what they can do.
Yeah.
What should they not do? Like, what is like danger zone? Don't even try this, because like you're gonna waste a lot of time, a lot of money. Like, I love to learn things. I'm gonna definitely like, and I am learning. But there are times when if you're smart, you should know to stay away from that and let somebody else do it.
So if you're dabbling with boosting posts to get likes for your Facebook page,
what about that?
I would say do it. I mean, I would say do it, but make sure that it's valuable content. Don't just try and push out like sale. If you're doing like a full-blown campaign with 100 ads with different audiences, I would probably get a professional in at that point, which could be possibly me, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But with Martin, I would say, you know what, your team is doing a great job with posting on Facebook on a daily basis. Let me come in and let me get you leads, because you have a great foundation in place. This is something I can work with to make sure that you start getting new patients. And that's kind of where I specialize in. So I'm not saying, I would never say you shouldn't try it yourself, right? But I would say that if you're going to be spending money on it, you're going to spend probably a lot less money doing it with someone like me than trying it on your own. And I mean, you've told me yourself, Martin, that you spend lots of money on doing Facebook ads yourself that didn't work.
Yes.
Right? So this is the thing about Facebook. 8 out of 10 ads don't work. 8 out of 10 ads don't work. And what I do is I come in and I find those 2 at a very small budget. And then once we find those 2 out of 10 that work, what do? We crank it up. And
all in.
We double down. We go all in. Whatever the gambling reference you want to use, right?
I don't gamble.
Yeah, neither do I. Sometimes, only with marketing, right? But what you can
no,
do is
do
we have the edge, right? When you are doing it the right way, you have the edge. Boosting a post, you don't have the edge.
So what's the max time of a video?
Like Martin talking about acupuncture, is that 10? So the one that you saw for Martin is a little bit different, because there was a little bit more explanation required to explain the webinar, to explain, who I am and how we've been working together. He did add a story element. So I would say a couple of things. So I would split test that. I would test different videos against each other to figure out what works. Secondly, the ideal sweet spot for video length for Facebook that I have found is between 15 and 30 seconds.
Wow.
15 and 30 seconds is enough, because you know what? it's very easy to get a lot of views on Facebook, but those are what we call 3-second views. It's someone that's just scrolled by their feed. Facebook counts it, and then you think, wow, I'm getting all of these views, but they're only seeing it for 3 seconds. And Facebook is doing that, to be honest, to pump up those numbers.
You can go see how many people are viewing for 3
Yeah, so what we do is and this is, I'm really glad you asked this question, Kim, because with videos, what we can do is we're able to create custom audiences based on how much of a video someone has watched. So for example, if you had watched 75% of Martin's video but didn't sign up for the webinar, you got served an ad about the webinar to remind you, because it tells me that they watched 75% of it. There was 75% of it, not enough to get all the way to the end.
I think most people will watch about 75% of it and then we'll stop.
Well, it depends. It depends on how interested they are.
Most people are going to watch 75% of this webinar and then stop.
Except there's no defined time limit.
Actually, our attendees have remained the same.
So yes, so thank you so much, guys, for staying. And we're going to continue to make sure this is valuable for you. What else do we want to cover? Is that really it? No, I think we have some stuff. No? Well, I mean, we can do a little bit more Q&A if anyone has any questions. And
okay, my final thought, because it's still been a while now, we're going to wrap it up pretty soon. But my final thought about this is that Facebook is great, and I'm going to continue to do ads with this guy. But you should, as an acupuncturist, you should also consider to have just a wide variety of different streams of marketing. So I posted something this week or last week on low-tech marketing. I'm a huge fan of doing the simple things.
Mm-hmm.
Printing a flyer, printing a postcard or a gift card.
What's GFX? What do you mean? Sorry, Kim, what do you mean by GFX? Like graphics? Yeah. Okay.
We didn't talk about writing.
Yeah.
Caption.
So I'll tell. Yeah. So let's talk about those two things. So graphics, I would. Yeah. I should know what graphics GFX is. Okay. So what I would say about graphics is, you might not like hearing this, but you want to get straight to the meat. And unfortunately, when people are scrolling through their Facebook feed, if they see a graphic with some intro, they're going to be like, okay, just get to it, right? So if you're going to have a graphic representation of your business, I would put that at the end of the video. In fact, a lot of clients that I work with, when they send me videos that actually have a graphics piece at the end, I will actually go in Premiere Pro and I will actually chop it off. So I'll cut off
at the end or at the beginning?
No, the beginning.
You said the end.
Oh, sorry. I'll chop it off at the beginning, right? So what it does is it gets straight to the point, because no one really wants
my videos.
Fortunately, I've taught you.
No, because I have sometimes I do Martin Paris. So.
Yeah. So what I would do is I would
bad?
If it's more like an engagement,
yeah. If it's an engagement,
yeah, but you know what? The 2 seconds is all you have to catch someone's attention on Facebook. So if you're putting money behind it, I probably would go straight to the meat. If it's more of an engagement piece and you're trying to nurture an existing audience, then yeah, putting the Martin Paris stuff is good. I mean, they know what it is because they can see at the top that it's from your Facebook page. So they know it's you. They'll see your face in a second. Yeah. So I would probably put the graphics at the end and get straight to the meat. And what was the second thing we were going to talk about? Oh, captions.
Captions.
Yeah, so for captions, there's some really good services like rev.com.
That's what I use.
Yeah, rev.com is good. It's $1 per minute of captioning. Facebook actually has its own captioning generator. So if it's 15 to 30 seconds or less than a minute, you just have to press the generate now button and it'll generate, and then you just have to go in and lightly edit it. It's really easy. But definitely have captions. Sorry to interrupt, Martin. Definitely have captions, because 80% of people on all videos, 80% of people will not click on the video, so they won't be able to hear it. And if they can't hear it, then they'll be reading it. So people just want to read. Maybe they're at work and they're on their phone and they're, oh, look at that video of Martin, and then they're reading it rather than
all videos caption.
I would caption every video.
I'm so cheap.
No, but you know what? It's not about that.
You know what? I mean, what's great about
if you're gonna do it right.
What has been great with Rev is that it has forced me to keep my videos at a low.
You can, like my videos.
It's 2 minutes and 59 seconds. How can I edit this so I can save $1?
2 minutes and 59 seconds.
Yeah.
So I think. So are there any other questions? Yeah. No. Nice. Yeah. So I think one thing I do want to say is, we didn't want this to be like some super sales pitch, but I will say that I am offering a discount for acupuncture coaching viewers. So that's everyone on the webinar today. So if you want to find out more about how I can run your Facebook marketing campaign, we'll do a free, I'm offering a free Skype session where we can talk about any questions that you may have that you don't want to really share here, or that are specific to your business, that are specific to Florida or wherever in the world you're watching this from. And I can give you half an hour of pure, like, this is exactly what we need to do. If you want to visit acupuncturecoaching.com/Riaz, that's RIAZ. It rhymes with Cameron Diaz, but with an R. Acupuncturecoaching.com/Riaz. Fill out the form there. I'll get a notification. I'll get in touch with you over like Fridays tomorrow. So in the next couple of days, ideally in the next 24 hours, and we can schedule a conversation, and I can tell you all about what you probably need to do.
This is how you spell his name.
I appreciate that, but I don't think it worked.
No? They can't see? The lighting is crazy here.
We're going to work on the lighting.
I don't know if I'm not this white.
So acupuncturecoaching.com/Riaz and RIAZ. What I'll do is we'll have a free Skype session. I can coach you through it. As long as you're not in Martin's territory of the world, I'm happy to work with you to get you leads.
You can help other acupuncturists in my territory. I'm fine with that.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
That's not I have an integrity where I don't want to do that actually. So then there's a conflict, and then we're outbidding each other. So if I'm just doing Ottawa for him, I'm gonna do Florida, like whatever part of the world you're from. First come, first serve for that, and I'm happy to even if you don't end up working with me on using my services, I'm just excited to work with other acupuncturists and help Martin in his crusade to be an acupuncture coach to help other acupuncturists. And I hope we've added some value today.
Yeah. Good pitch. Good plug. Good,
well, I mean, the reality is it has to be a win-win, and
yeah.
If I'm benefiting from it, your practice is benefiting from it, and your client's benefiting from it, then I don't really feel bad about doing my business.
Marketing should be an investment.
It is.
And you don't know until you try. It's the same deal with acupuncture. We tell our patients, yes, I've helped hundreds of people with back pain. I've helped people with this. But they've got to get started with you, and they got to find out if this is going to work for them. And it's the same thing with me. I want to start offering coaching to people. Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, might as well type it. That way you don't have to hold up whiteboards.
I want to help other acupuncturists. Maybe if you're struggling in clinic, you've been practicing for years, maybe you're brand new, you don't have any idea how to structure your business, how to talk to people. Those are all the kind of things that I want to help you. Again, my quick story is when I got started, right away I got some coaches, and I got a few great coaches that told me exactly how I should organize my practice. And as a result, within 1 year, I was still a student back then. In 1 year, I was seeing 100 patient visits a week. Now, seeing a lot of patients is great, but at the same time, it doesn't mean that I see a lot of patients. Sometimes people see a lot of patients but aren't as successful. We make a great living. We have great income. So I don't like to talk so much about money and say like, oh, I'm all about the money. But we do well. Just to give you an idea, this month, the month's not over, but for acupuncture, I'm the only acupuncturist here. Our collections are in the $30,000. So that's not bad. It's a good month. It's a regular kind of decent month.
Yeah. So I think that's important because it gives some context in terms of how much a patient is actually worth. And how many patients do you see? Okay. Well, he sees 200 patients a week, right? So
yeah, usually it's around 200. Lately, it's been a little bit lower because my effort's been in Orleans. But I think this week my numbers are going to be around in the 180s. Yeah. I'm working a little bit tomorrow.
So Martin, you sound like a smart guy. So if you want to be smart like Martin, give me a call.
Yeah. So we really hope you found this useful. I'm going to do more webinars like this. I'm going to invite this guy again. I think marketing is such a it's a part of the business. It's if you can articulate your ideas, you can be the best practitioner on the planet, but nobody's knocking on your doors, then what's the point?
And keep in mind, we are recording this webinar, so we will send you out a link to the webinar. So if you missed any details, you can kind of follow up on that as well. I think there was a question there.
Yeah, 200 a week. That's mostly community. I do have private rooms. Here in my downtown location, I have one private room, which is full all the time. And in Orleans, which is kind of a suburban area, it's not community at all. It's just private rooms. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions at all? Do you have any other questions out there?
Oh, but I charge the same rate for community as for private room. So that's something that definitely a great tip. You should get into community, and you should not discount your rates based on walls. It doesn't matter that you have a community room that you have to offer really low acupuncture rates. Um, it's based on results. It's based on helping people,
Yeah.
and whether they're in a private room or they're in a nice community room. My community rooms are like, see these big chairs. This is what they sit in.
They're comfy.
They're very comfy. It's called a perfect chair, human touch.
Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think so. Basically, I think Martin is offering all sorts of advice on coaching. So how can people find out more about acupuncture coaching and learning about all these different techniques?
So it's a very complicated website. It's called acupuncturecoaching.com. And if you go on that website, you're gonna see how to get in touch with me. I will not coach anyone. I have to make sure that it's the right fit. So whether you can go and sign up and pay to get coaching by me, but the first thing that's going to happen is we're going to have a conversation and making sure that we're the right fit, that I believe that I can help you, because it has to be win-win. He said win-win. I love that line. It has to be win-win. And I made that rule. I'm not going to coach anyone. I'm going to coach people that I believe that I can help, and that we are kind of in line with the same beliefs.
And I think that applies for the marketing too, right? Like, I mean, a lot of factors are going to depend on the marketing in terms of the amount of the population of your city, how saturated your market is.
So what we did, could this work in LA?
Absolutely. I mean, the only difference would be we would have to look at things like, what is the population like of people who fit within the target demographic? How many other acupuncturists are there? How saturated it is? I have all these tools to crunch these numbers, so we can figure out what the cost per acquisition really would be. But that could impact things like budget and things like that, because I mean, Ottawa is, to give you some context, where we're living is 1.2 million or so.
It's a great city. I love Ottawa.
It's a great city. It's the capital of Canada.
Yeah.
But it's 1.2 million. So I mean, maybe you can kind of use that as a benchmark for if you live in a city that has 600,000 people, then maybe we can look at getting more like 15 leads a month. You know what I mean?
But I think like if you live let's say you live in New York City.
Yeah.
Could you like focus on like a part of New York City? Could you like split it into?
Well, I wouldn't do that. What I would do is I would use the data I would use that lookalike, right, to find people, but I would get more precise people, because you can actually target degrees of people who look like your existing patients. So for a city like Ottawa, I go 10% similarity to his existing patients, whereas in New York, I might go 1% similarity to his existing audience, because the sample size is so much bigger.
I wasn't really listening. Okay.
That's why you pay me to do this.
No. So did you say you can? Like
Yes, we can.
I can see that. I know Amanda. I know where she is. I know Amanda, and I know that she's in the Toronto area, but she's in like the north.
Yeah. So you would want to be. Yeah. I mean, we can definitely play with that.
Okay.
We can definitely play with that.
Well, we really hope you found this useful. We hope that this was.
Yeah, Amanda, let's do a Skype call. We'll talk all about Vaughan. I love Vaughan. I love Vaughan Mills. The mall. I love the mall. Yeah. Anyways,
do you know anything about Vaughan?
Yeah, my sister was there.
Okay, I was gonna put you on the spot.
You did, okay. And I was real about it.
I love Florida. It's sunny.
You know what? My other sister lives in Florida.
Of course she does.
All right. Okay, I think that's
so. Thanks for attending, and we look forward to doing this again. We hope you found it useful.
Yeah,
Facebook, it can be achieved, and it can help you be a great marketing tool.
And remember, acupuncturecoaching.com/Riaz, RIAZ. Go there now. Fill out the form. I'll get a notification. I'll get excited.
You'll go through the funnel.
You'll go through the funnel. We'll talk about the funnel of how we can get you new patients, and do a Skype session on that.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad. Thank you for finding it really informative. Thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
It was great. We had a great time.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Great. All right. So there we go.
Bye-bye,
Thanks,
everyone.
guys. Stay in touch, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Okay.